Alright guys, what is going on? It's Carnage Defense bringing you another video today, and in today's video I wanted to talk to you guys about my new Aero Precision build. Pretty hard to get it in frame considering that it's such a big rifle, but there you go. I have been building this gun for the last couple months. Granted, it doesn't sound like that long, I know that, but I've been building it for the last couple months, trying to figure out all the accessories that I want on it, and I think I finally got it down to exactly what I want. So let me go over everything with you real quick, that way you understand what all is on this rifle. Everything on this rifle is Magpul furniture, including the bipod. So I've got a very nice stock. The lower on this is an Aero Precision M4E1 lower, and then the upper is the M4E1 upper, and the rail is the R1 rail. The R1 rail has the Picatinny all the way through it. The S1 rail, it stops about here, and all the space in between has no Picatinny rail, so it's easier to grab. It's lighter, but in my opinion, considering that this gun is kind of a moderate range shooting gun, because that's what I wanted, I could probably shoot 400 or 500 yards, no problem with this. I wanted the extra rail for any accessories that maybe I want in the future. You never know. Kind of hard to see, but the trigger here is a Trigger Tech Duty trigger. It's a 3.5 pound trigger. I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like. First, let me verify that it's clear, and you can see that it's clear. Also, I love this charging handle. This is the Aero Precision charging handle. So nice. This is the trigger pull, so it's a 3.5 pound trigger. Single stage trigger, that's literally all of it. And this is the reset. Hardly any movement at all. I love single stage triggers, and I love the fact that it's only 3.5 pounds. It's super light. I'll show that to you one more time. That's it. The reset. That's it. So I personally never had a Trigger Tech trigger before, so I got this one, and honestly, I love it. On this rifle, I also have the Radian Talon Ambi Safety, and then as I mentioned earlier, this is the Aero Precision Breech charging handle. I'm not really going to be able to show you what that one looks like in this video, but I will show you just me looking at it on my phone. It is a very nice charging handle, very easy to use. So it's really hard to tell in the webcam video how my charging handle looks, but this is it right here. It is ambidextrous, so I can pull it from both sides. This bolt carrier group is from Aero Precision. This is their Black Nitride BCG. I love it. It's a super, super nice bolt carrier group. I also went with the 416R stainless steel barrel. This is a 1:8 twist, 223 wild barrel. I like the stainless steel finish, so I went with that instead of just a black nitride finish, but I love this barrel. It's super nice and it's super accurate. Also, this muzzle brake is the Precision Armament Hyper Tap. I love this muzzle brake. It shoots super flat. It has basically no recoil. This muzzle brake reduces 85% of felt recoil, and I definitely say it does that. And this thing shoots super, super flat. If you have not shot one with the Hyper Tap before, I recommend buying it, giving it a try. You're going to be amazed. So I could probably make a whole video just on this topic alone, but I'll kind of summarize it a little bit for you. As far as LPVOs go, there's a lot of things that you need to pay attention to when you're shopping for one. So you could either go with an LPVO or a Red Dot and Magnifier combo. I wanted an LPVO just because I wanted the magnification from 1 to 6 versus a magnifier typically is from 1 or 3 and nothing in between. So this will shoot out farther in theory. Really, it just depends on the shooter. For LPVOs, it's really weird because a lot of the budget-friendly ones are not daylight bright, and they're not very clear out to a certain amount of yards, typically like 400 or 500 yards. Things start to get very blurry, and you kind of question what exactly you're looking at, and I wanted something that was quality. So the one that I went with was the Vortex Viper PST Gen 2 1:6. The reason why I went with it is because it's daylight bright and it's got very clear glass. So this is Philippines glass. I almost went with the Primary Arms ACSS Nova, which is their newer one. It's basically the same as this, but it's Chinese glass instead. But again, I've heard a lot of people complain about the blurriness out to a certain amount of yards. And I was like, I might as well just spend the extra little bit of money and have that better glass, because that's a better investment down the road. So I did at one point buy the Vortex Strike Eagle 1:6, which is a Chinese optic from Vortex, and I wasn't really impressed with it. It felt very cheap, and it wasn't daylight bright, which is one of the things that I wanted. And I knew that, but I was like, well, it was like, I think $250 or whatever. It was cheap. I was like, well, for that price, I'll just do it. I ended up sending it back just because I didn't like the quality of it in comparison to this. Like I said, this is the Vortex Viper PST Gen 2 1-6. I got this on Amazon for right around 520 bucks and it was well worth it. Now, I did also get an Aero Precision mount. This is Aero Precision's ultralight mount, and this is well worth the money. So that's kind of why I ended up going with an LPVO setup, was because I wanted the 1 magnification, but I also wanted the 6 magnification and everything in between. Not to mention, it's also more affordable to go with this setup than like an EOTech magnification setup like what I would have gone with. So this was right around 600 bucks for the optic and the mount. The EOTech would have been probably well over $1,000 if you included the red dot plus the magnifier. Not to mention, you really can't beat Vortex's warranty. So that's the reason why I went with an LPVO. It's kind of like the best do-all scope, if that makes any sense. It's really good at one times and it's really good at distance. Just that decision alone on the LPVO took me about a month because I didn't know what I wanted and I had a budget in my head. And unfortunately, I went past that budget just because I wanted a higher quality optic. Nice thing is I can take this off, put on any of my other rifles, and it'll work perfectly. So yeah, that's kind of the overall setup that I have here. I added it up, and it's disgusting how much I've spent on this. I ended up spending about $2,200 on this total setup. Now, with that said, that includes all of the aftermarket things that I put on here. A normal Aero Precision rifle set up like this with all the factory components would have been around 1,500 bucks. And it wouldn't have had the upgraded trigger, the ambidextrous safety. It wouldn't have had, I don't believe, the breech charging handle. It wouldn't have had the bipod. It wouldn't have had the grip. It wouldn't have had the better stock. And it sure as hell wouldn't have had the LPVO and the mount. So in reality, I actually got a pretty decent deal considering how many upgrades this has. Plus, this trigger is amazing. I love this trigger. Like, after shooting this, it's very difficult for me to go back to a mil-spec trigger. So this is my Aero Precision build. I will say one of my only gripes about this muzzle brake is the fact that it's very gassy. So I shot it at an indoor range, which may be my fault, but all the gases were coming right at me and my eyes ended up watering super, super fast. But the gun was so much fun to shoot. It was totally worth it. Plus, I don't know if you can see it, but there's little holes here that are kind of like pre-drilled, but they're not drilled all the way through. You can actually tune this muzzle brake. It is amazing. And it also has a lock nut behind it instead of a crush washer. So yes, I basically could have bought a brand new Carnage Defense with no optic for the cost of this whole rifle. But if you ask me, it was well worth it. The only other thing I would add on this rifle would be a Streamlight flashlight, just because, I mean, in the event where I use it as a home defense weapon, which I really hope I don't because I have other guns for that, but if I needed to, I want to know what I'm shooting at if it was dark, and a flashlight is very important for that. But yeah, if I had to rate this gun overall, I would rate this thing at like a 9. The only reason it wouldn't be a 10 was because of just how gassy that muzzle brake is when you shoot it indoors. I haven't shot it outdoors yet, so when I shoot it outdoors, I have a feeling it's going to be a 10. Now, I will say I do have another Aero Precision build that I'm working on. It is nothing like this. It's still 5.56, but it is going to be absolutely badass. That gun is not done yet, but when it is, I will let you guys know and I will do a complete video on it. I am super excited for it to finally be done. I am curious to see what you guys would have done differently if you had my build, whether or not if you would have gone with the Red Dot Magnifier or maybe you would have went with a different trigger. Let me know down below what you would have done. If you guys did enjoy today's video, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.